did an interview out here saying, I'm like, why would this dude even fix his mouth to say something about my charge? So what's the problem with you then?
Every time he opens his mouth to say something about Marsau, he gonna be talking about Martell.
I never say about you.
About what Marsau knows about Martell. I'm telling you right now, I don't have no respect for you.
Okay, you a bitch ass. It's like dude code, and it's like we together. I'm not saying nothing about it.
We've never
you
been together.
Where the pictures at, Martell? Let me see.
Cheers to my boy.
What's that?
Go ahead and say your shit. I'm gonna
Keep going, big fella. Keep going, big fella.
I'm done. Okay, hold on.
It always starts quietly. A whisper here, a rumor there, and suddenly the entire internet is on fire. But this time, the truth didn't come from a blog, a leaked message, or a shadowy insider. It came straight from the man people least expected to speak up. And when Marsau finally admitted he knew about Martell's revenge plot, everything changed. Because this wasn't just another storyline. This wasn't just typical reality TV drama.
Part of the harassing communications was you sending the picture.
No.
Right.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, that's the question I gotta ask. The question is, how do you feel about that? That makes me lose respect for Martell.
If it was true.
If it was true, yes. I didn't
So
say
now
it was
that
true.
he's saying
I
it
assumed it was true.
You assumed it was?
Now that he's saying that it's not true, how do you feel about it?
I don't know if I can believe Martell.
This was a moment that exposed loyalty, betrayal, silence, and the messy layers underneath friendships that were already hanging by a thread. People had questions, lots of them.
Some of the things that they was throwing at us, I haven't dealt with it. And I felt like it was a distraction because I really wanted to talk about, some of the things we really did have to overcome within our relationship and our marriage. But infidelity wasn't one of them, So I'm like, it just wasn't my case. And then once I started having people come to me, it was like, well, we've been offered money to come on the show and say we slept with your husband. I was like, oh my God. Like, this
Are you
is
serious?
Yeah, yeah. I was like, this is crazy. Like, people are really offering you money to come on this show and lie. So at that point, I was like, forget it.
Why did Marcel keep quiet? Why advise Karson to stay silent about Melody? Why now? And what did he think would happen when the truth finally spilled out? Because if there's one thing we've all learned by watching this friend group unravel over the years, it's that secrets don't stay buried. They sit, they simmer, and then they explode at the worst possible moment. And today, we're breaking down exactly how Marsau's confession shook the room, why this moment is bigger than people realize.
How you guys doing today? To be honest with you guys, we've kind of had a little rough start to the beginning of this week. I saw that Marsau went live yesterday, and he's sitting over there gloating and everything about some of the notoriety that he's gained because of the fight that happened on Love Marriage Huntsville over the weekend. Even though it was kind of embarrassing, I wanted to be very clear about what actually happened during that fight and the events that led up to it. There's a lot that you guys didn't see. However, in the moment that I acted, I was acting to protect the situation, protect my brother from further harm. And what I will tell you is I wanted to really protect Dr. Adara Collins' work because Martell was going to slap the teeth out of his mouth.
And how this entire situation is exposing deeper cracks between Martell, Melody, Karson, and the Scotts themselves. If you think you know the story, believe me, you don't know the half of it. Because once we walk through the timeline step by step, you'll see exactly why everyone is looking at Marcel sideways and why some fans are already calling this the biggest betrayal of the season. But to understand how we even got here, we need to go back, way back, to when the whispers first started.
This is when I was live earlier and I told y'all I keep learning about people and just how people are, right? People keep wanting to run this narrative that I was conceived while his mama and my daddy was married. It's ridiculous. Like, they literally got divorced when my brother and sister were like 4. There is a, 17-year difference between us. Make it make sense. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. That's why I said people like to just make up stuff. Me and him, we would be like, child. Stop it.
Because this drama didn't just appear out of thin air. It was building long before Marsau ever opened his mouth. For years, Marsau and Martell's friendship was complicated, a mix of loyalty, tension, business overlap, and unspoken competition. They weren't just friends. They were tied together through marriages, partnerships, and history. And whenever you have two strong personalities in the same room, with wives who've had their own ups and downs, you already know things can get messy fast. But things took a darker turn after Martell's split from Melody. The breakup wasn't just painful, it was explosive, public, constantly dragged into the spotlight. And the fallout didn't just affect them, it sent shockwaves through everyone around them. People chose sides, relationships changed, allegiances shifted, and the Scotts, especially Marsau and Letitia, found themselves caught in the middle. At first, they tried to play neutral. They tried to stay out of it. They insisted they weren't taking sides and didn't want to get pulled into the storm. And honestly, for a moment, that seemed believable. But the truth? Neutrality only works when both sides are calm. Once Martell started spiraling, everyone around him felt the impact.
This was also around the time when Karson Blue entered the picture more publicly. She wasn't part of the core conflict, not at first. She was focused on her business, her brand, her own path. She wasn't trying to be in anybody's mess. But Martell rarely lets anyone stay out of the narrative if he thinks they're connected to Melody. And when he started feeling cornered, insecure, and desperate to regain control of the storyline, Karson suddenly became a convenient target. The rumors about Martell working behind the scenes, trying to build a revenge plot, didn't come from nowhere. They came from patterns, from behavior people had seen before, from leaked moments that didn't add up. And when whispers started swirling that Martell was actively trying to damage Melody's reputation in ways that went way beyond typical drama, that's when people started paying attention. But what nobody expected was that Marsau knew. He'd heard the chatter early. He'd felt the tension. He'd seen signs that something wasn't right. Yet instead of stepping in, he stayed quiet. And for a long time, fans didn't know that. Nobody did. This is where Karson's story comes in. She wasn't trying to expose anyone. She wasn't looking for a fight. But once Martell came for her, publicly and behind closed doors, she had no choice but to defend herself. And she did it with receipts, with timelines, with calm, specific details that made Martell look even more suspicious. But here's the twist. Karson wasn't just defending herself. She was exposing the entire operation without even realizing it. See, while Martell was scrambling to discredit her, Marsau was quietly watching everything unfold. He wasn't stopping Martell. He wasn't calling him out. He wasn't waving a red flag. Instead, he pulled Karson aside and told her something that changed the tone of the entire situation. Don't mention Melody. Think about that. If someone tells you to avoid bringing up a person's name, especially someone deeply connected to a conflict, it's not casual, it's calculated, it's protective, or it's hiding something. And that led people to wonder, protecting who? Protecting what? Protecting why? When Marsau recently admitted that he knew about Martell's revenge plot, he didn't just confirm what fans suspected. He confirmed that he'd been walking on eggshells, holding information, staying quiet, and advising Karson in ways that weren't as neutral as he once claimed. Because if he had no idea what Martell was doing, why would he tell Karson to keep Melody's name out of her mouth? Why would he be cautious? Why would he care? And once that question landed, people realized this story was much bigger than anyone thought. According to Marsau, the reason he gave Karson that advice was simple. He didn't want her to get dragged into drama that wasn't hers. He didn't want her to become part of Martell's chaos. He didn't want her to get blamed if things spiraled. It sounded noble, protective, kind. But here's where it gets messy.
that explanation doesn't match the behavior.
Because if Marsau truly wanted to protect Karson, why didn't he stop Martell? Why didn't he speak up sooner? Why didn't he say, "Hey, this isn't right. Leave her alone"?
Why choose silence? Why choose caution?
Why choose self-preservation over honesty? And most importantly, why choose to be quiet right up until the moment Melody confirmed the rumors? Because that's exactly what happened. The second Melody validated Karson's story, publicly. Suddenly, the walls started cracking. Suddenly, Marsau admitted he believed it. Suddenly, he acknowledged the plot. Suddenly, the advice he gave Karson made more sense. But by then, the damage was already done.
Karson had already been dragged through the mud.
Melody had already faced years of manipulation.
Martell had already built a narrative he was losing control of.
And Marsau?
He was standing in the middle of it, not innocent, not guilty, but somewhere in a gray area that fans weren't willing to ignore.
Karson was the one who shifted the momentum. Her calmness, her confidence, her willingness to speak her truth, even when Martell tried to distort it, forced people to see what was happening with clear eyes. And when she produced receipts, when Melody backed her up, when timelines matched,
Martell's version of events collapsed.
But that wasn't even the most shocking part.
The real twist came when Karson revealed the small comments Marsau had made behind the scenes, the subtle warnings, the careful advice, the stay quiet moments that didn't make sense until now. Suddenly, Marsau's confession wasn't just about knowing, it was about choosing to stay silent while someone he called a friend spiraled deeper into revenge and manipulation.
And this is where the emotional impact hits. Because silence is not neutral. Silence is not harmless. Silence can be just as damaging as action, especially in a situation where someone is being targeted. Karson's stress levels skyrocketed. Her business felt the heat. Her reputation took hits she didn't deserve. She spent months defending herself against attacks that weren't even based in truth. Melody? She'd already been fighting battles on every front. Divorce, co-parenting, rebuilding her life, trying to break free from someone who kept pulling her name back into chaos. The revenge plot wasn't just a rumor, it was proof that Martell still wanted control, even after the relationship was done. And while all this was happening, Marsau stayed quiet. People started questioning Marsau's intentions. Was he really protecting Karson? Was he protecting Martell? Was he protecting himself? Or was he protecting Letitia, who has always been cautious about anything that might fuel rumors around their own relationship?
Because the second Marsau admitted he knew, fans started connecting dots.
And whether intentional or not, his silence fed into a pattern, his tendency to avoid confrontation when it doesn't directly affect him, even if it harms someone else. But here's the part that hits hardest. Karson trusted him.
She trusted his advice. She trusted that he wanted the best for her. She trusted that he was being honest.
And now? Now she realizes he was holding back the very information that could have protected her from Martell's attacks. That kind of realization hurts.
It changes relationships.
It changes how you see people. It changes everything.
Melody, too, had to sit with the fact that someone who claimed neutrality knew there was a plot against her, yet didn't say a word. Not a warning, not a heads up, nothing.
And when a woman already dealing with a public breakup learns that someone she thought was at least fair-minded stayed quiet while a revenge plan formed against her, that's painful in a way people don't talk about.
But here's where the story takes an even sharper turn.
Because now, fans are questioning Marsau's motives more than ever. Some say he was protecting himself and Letitia. Some say he didn't want to be dragged into Martell's mess. Others believe he was trying to play both sides, stay friendly with Martell, but quietly align with Melody's truth. But the reality is simple. You can't be neutral in a situation built on lies. You can't stay silent while a friend harms another friend. And you can't tell someone to keep Melody's name out of it if you truly believe in transparency.
The moment Marsau admitted he knew, he opened a door he can't close again. Because now everything he says is viewed through a different lens. Every comment, every confession, every piece of advice, every silence. People are asking, is he holding back more? Does he know details he hasn't shared? Was he protecting Martell more than anyone realized? And now that Karson is speaking up, boldly, confidently, without fear, fans are taking her seriously. She's not exaggerating. She's not stirring drama. She's simply telling the truth. And the truth just so happens to shine a spotlight right on the cracks in Marcel's story. This is why everyone is watching. Because the fallout is already happening. Karson isn't as trusting anymore. Melody is seeing relationships differently. Martell is losing control of the narrative he tried so hard to build. And Marsau? He's learning that staying quiet is not always the safest option. Sometimes it creates even bigger problems. Now, viewers are wondering, where does this leave Marcel and Martell's friendship? Where does it leave Letitia? Where does it leave Karson, who was caught in a storm she didn't ask for? And how does this reshape Melody's boundaries moving forward? Because one thing is clear. This situation revealed more about loyalty, silence, and hidden agendas than anyone expected. And the aftermath isn't over. Not by a long shot. Secrets always come out.